Hello and welcome to the CATIA Design Tables lesson. In this lesson you'll learn the steps for properly creating a part for use in a design table, creating, populating, and modifying a design table, and converting a design table into a catalog. The parts we'll be modeling are a series of studded Lego plates in a variety of sizes. The features that I'll be altering are the plate size, the number of studs, and the number of support rings on the bottom. The part that I'm going to start modeling is a 2x2 studded plate. With the base of my part sketched out, I'm going to rename some of these parameters. The easiest way to do that is to double click on the parameter, right click on the value, and select edit. Then change this field over here to the new value for the parameter that you want. For this I'm going to do plate length in the X direction. For this one, I'm going to do plate width in the Y direction. It's important when you're renaming parameters to make sure that you use easily distinguishable names and to stay consistent internally with what you're renaming them. Now that I've got the base made, I'm going to pad it and then shell it from the bottom. With that done, I'm going to add the support ring on the bottom. And with that done, I'm going to start working on the studs on the top. First, I'm going to remove the material underneath the stud and then make the stud on the top of the plate. Now that I have this stud modeled, I'm going to pattern it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pattern the hole underneath the stud. For the reference direction, I'm going to grab this edge along the X direction. You can rename this instance parameter in the same way that you renamed the parameters from the sketch, by right-clicking, selecting Edit, and modifying this field right here. I'm going to call this stud, and since it's along the X direction, it's going to be the length. And then second direction, we're going to do the same process, only in the Y direction. And rename that stud width. Now I'm going to pattern the stud on the top of the plate. Because the holes and the studs themselves have the same number of instances in the same directions, I'm going to right click on the instance field and click Edit Formula. What this allows me to do is it allows me to use an equation instead of an actual value. So I'm going to select Renamed Parameters. I'm going to grab stud length and click OK. Remembering that length is in the X direction for my reference element, I'm going to grab this edge along the X direction, and I'm going to do the same thing on my second direction. I'm going to select Edit Formula, Parameters, and this time I'm going to grab stud width, and choose an edge in the Y direction. And click OK. Now I've got my part fully modeled. One feature we need to pay particular attention to is this support ring down here. Although it's not patterned in this particular version of the part, it is in others, so we do need to make a pattern for it for the design table. So I'm going to select it and pattern it. I'm going to choose my directions in the same directions as the previous patterns, and for now I'm just going to leave it as a 2x2. One thing to know is that CATIA cannot handle a 1x1 pattern. Now I have these extra rings that I don't want for this particular version of the part. To turn them off, I'm going to edit their activity variable. So I go to the formula window, click on that pattern in the design tree, and scroll down until I get to the activity parameter. What this allows me to do is it allows me to turn certain features on and off. So I'm going to set that to false and click OK. Now I can make changes to that pattern. I'm going to go back into the formula window, select it again. I'm going to rename my activity variable while I'm here. And now I'm going to edit the number and direction 1 and 2. I select number and direction 1 and click Add Formula. Remembering that direction 1 is going to be the stud length minus 1. I'm going to do the same thing for direction 2 and put that as stud width minus 1. This would have given me a 1x1 pattern, which CATIA can't handle, but because I have the feature turned off in this particular version of the part, it's going to be okay. Now I have the part fully modeled and I'm ready to create a design table. In order to create the design table, go down here and click Design Table. We're going to create the design table using current parameter values, so click that and then click OK. Now we're going to select the parameters. This is where renaming the parameters really helps out, because we can just select a filter to renamed parameters and grab all the parameters that we've renamed, which are all the important ones for this design table. Select them all, click OK, and then we're going to save our table. And then we're going to go down here and click Edit Table. Now that we're in Excel, we're going to make a few changes to it. First, we're going to insert a new column, and we're going to call this part number. It has to be spelled exactly like this for it to work with the catalog system. This is a 2x2 plate, so I'm just going to call it 2x2. And next, I'm going to just populate it with a few common plates. So just 2x3, by 4, etc. One of the nicer things about design tables is you can actually use formulas in Excel rather than trying to use the formulas in CATIA. We can take advantage of this with this particular design table because the plate length and stud length are related by just multiplying it by 8 millimeters. So I'm just going to grab this, multiply it by 8, and fill this out. And since the pattern is going to be true for all the other versions of this part, I'm going to set these all to true. And I'm done with this. I'm going to save it and close it. Now CATIA is going to automatically recognize that I've made some changes to it, so it's going to import those. And you can see that it's imported all the changes, but it hasn't imported the part number. So I'm going to go to the Associations tab. I'm going to filter by string. And here is the part number parameter for the part, and I'm going to associate those as well. Now that we have our design table, we can open it up and select different permutations of the part. So here we have a 6x10. I'm going to hide these planes to make it look pretty and save my part. Now that we have our design table, it's time to make a catalog out of it. So I'm going to close my part and I'm going to go to Start, Infrastructure, Catalog Editor. Make sure that Chapter 1 is selected. Go to the right, click Add Part Family, select a part, navigate to your part that you made, and click OK. If you want to verify that you made sure you imported the right part, you can expand the chapter and double click on the part family, and there should be all the parameters for your part. If everything looks okay, go ahead and save it. And you've got a catalog now. Now I'm going to show you how to use the catalog to make it in an assembly. To start, I'm going to open up a new assembly, and then I'm going to click on this catalog browser icon down here. There's a number of standard catalogs that CATIA comes built in, but if you've made your own custom part libraries, you can make your own catalog. And to open it, you click Browse Another Catalog, navigate to the catalog you made, and double click on the new part family. Now I have all the access to all these plates that I made with the design table. And this completes the design table and catalog tutorial.